You unravel me with a melody. You surround.
A very warm welcome to you, our wonderful viewers. This is your #1 monthly inspirational show with your host, Eric Kamiti, The Propellers Show. This is the only place where lost hope is revived and life finds its meaning. This month we are still on with our theme, No Longer a Slave, and we are here to discuss breaking the chain of addiction. We are so excited to be here on studio today because we want to enlighten you on what addiction is, and we want to ask ourselves the question, is there life after addiction? And majorly I'll be talking about addiction in 3 major dimensions. And number 1, addiction is actually the sense of indulgence to something you have powerlessness over. There is loss of control whenever we are discussing addiction. Again, number 2 perspective actually of addiction is the sense of cannot do without. This is something that you actually cannot stay without. Anytime you think of it, it triggers something in the inside of you. And our number 3 perspective is actually the perspective of dependence. This is something that you are totally dependent upon. This is something that when you think about it, just beckons at you, it calls at you. And you see, we have so many types of addiction, but today we want to address actually addiction that is negative addiction. And we see there are a lot of things that are negative. Actually, we have alcohol, we have drug and substance abuse, we have sexual addiction, we have so many kinds of addiction. We have the internet addiction, things that are making people sick. Addiction is an ailment, and addiction affects the mind. Addiction should be treated. Addiction is not just something to overlook. It is something that should be given the seriousness it deserves. And this time on the Propellers Show, for the first time ever, we have our guest on the show, and we are so excited to be bringing her because she is an amazing lady with a story that is ready to inspire you. We are going to be having an interview with her, and she is none other than Miss Serafina. Miss Serafina, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. So probably we'll begin by you telling us a little bit of introduction about yourself, your name, and probably what you do.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me here. It is such a privilege, and I love your show.
Wow.
I've been watching a few episodes, so I can't wait for this one.
Oh, thank you.
A little bit about myself. My name is Serafina Locho. I am a student at Kenyatta University Kitui campus. I am currently in my 4th year studying Bachelor of Economics. Apart from schoolwork, I also have a line, a fashion line. It's called Slave, Slayve, where I tailor make dresses and outfits for, especially for ladies. I haven't ventured yet into the male gender. I also partner with entrepreneurs, upcoming entrepreneurs, and we talk about what it is that they're doing, and if it's profitable, then I get to invest.
Wow,
Yes.
That's amazing. So right away to our main topic of discussion, breaking the chain of addiction.
Yeah.
So here you are, and we really need to hear probably what exactly did you struggle with during that time? What was the major form of addiction that you had?
Yeah, I have struggled with addiction to drugs, let's say marijuana. At the same time, I was hooked on pills, prescription pills, and alcohol once in a while, and partying, especially the partying part, because it comes along with all that. So yeah.
So partying can too become an addiction.
Partying can become an addiction.
Wow. So can you tell us how you actually got into it? What was your first time like?
What was my first time like? I am not going to blame anyone for it. I'm just going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
So I come from a family where drugs have been in use, but for recreational purposes, and no one is actually told you can go and start. But when you grow up actually seeing, maybe the people that you live with smoking or drinking, and then, when in your younger ages you're not excited to try it out, but after you go to high school and you meet the same kinds of things there, then later on you come back home and you're like, oh, this is what my friend was using. Maybe I can use it also. So mine started in Form 1. Yeah. I was in a private school, and I just I don't know why I always attract the negative
Uh-huh.
the negative people. But honestly, I think I'm that kind of person who always wants to be with like the popping
Yeah.
crew.
Yeah.
So if the popping crew is doing drugs, then I'm probably going to be in it.
Mhm.
And so I was just introduced at a very young age. I think I was 14, 15,
Okay.
around 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was at a young age, and probably one of the things that really sponsored this was your family background, and then now we have the friends that now came up with alongside.
Yeah.
And actually, what made you continue with the use of the drugs?
At first, like I didn't sit down and decide, oh,
This is what I want.
this is what I want.
Yeah.
I'm going to use it for, let's say, I'm just giving myself 2 months.
Mhm.
I'm going
And
to
then
use it.
I'm
It didn't
out.
happen like
Uh-huh.
that. It just happened. I used it today, and I happened to use it again tomorrow, and the day after. And then 2 years later, I'm still using it. Like, time flies so fast, and
Yeah.
you don't even notice that you're actually getting
Yeah.
addicted. And I like how you defined addiction as, you said that it's loss of control. You can't
Yeah.
control this.
Yeah.
Because now, time flies, and later on you realize you actually can't do without it. You are just using it for fun and for going out and for,
Feeling cool.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Feeling and looking cool.
And looking cool,
But
yeah.
then you end up, once you're with people, then you can explain it, like we're just trying to have fun, all of us. But when you're doing it alone, then you really wonder, because you're not turning up, you're not with anyone.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it? Yeah.
Wow. And how did you actually realize that this one is actually an addiction, that I'm in it?
Wow. I knew I was in it. Well, what I always used to tell myself is, I'm doing it because I want it. I can stop
Yeah.
anytime I
You
want.
want, yeah.
But I don't want. And I won't
Uh-huh.
want. Actually, I used to say,
Uh-huh.
even when I'm 40, I'm still going to be smoking weed. And like weed is not cocaine or the hard drugs. So we tend to think of it we don't apply as much seriousness as it deserves, because it's always something that's so like casual, and
Yeah.
it's just something that we sing about, we talk about, if you want to, so we don't actually attach as much. Yeah, so like people every day, we're just using it, and we're not realizing that it actually is a serious problem. So like coming to realize was way later, and I didn't even know I was addicted. Yeah.
And what was actually your lowest moment in this time when you're using the drugs? The marijuana was like your daily cup of tea. When actually, and how did it influence you to become so low in life? I mean, at some point in time, you felt like now enough is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I used to deal with problems that are low, but then the next problem would come that's lower than this other one, then it hits a new low. But it reached a point, first of all, I was just feeling empty, and I actually don't even usually, like, I wasn't caring much about what people would say.
Yeah.
But what I used to treasure, and I still do, number one is family. So like when family loses confidence in you, then it's like
you're losing your support system.
Yeah, because I was trying to ask for money for to start a legit business, and I had someone, I won't say who, but she said, if you give her money, she's just going to blow it on drugs. So like I'm like, I actually did. I will not do it. I will not spend it on drugs. But like it's reached a point you can't even trust me with money, because you think like usually I'm always high. And so that was really like a low moment. I could say it's,
when actually family brought in the case of mistrust.
Yeah, mistrust.
Okay, and now what was your turning point?
My turning point. Okay. My turning point was when I realized that I am just a body, and inside like I am totally empty, and even the drugs couldn't fill the emptiness that I was feeling. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Like it reached a point I was so empty. Friends would come over and I would be high, but I'm still low, and I can't even figure out what exactly is going on. And so the beginning of 2017, I just decided I need something different. I don't know if it's God or if it's this or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but I need something different.
So there was actually this desire in you that there is something that needs to fill you up in the
Exactly,
inside, a
exactly.
satisfaction that is not drugs.
Exactly.
That means that drugs is not the ultimate solution.
Exactly.
Because I've actually realized most of the people say, when I'm having problems, number one thing I go for is alcohol,
Yep.
I go for weed, I go for parties. But you actually came to a realization that all this is not enough.
It's not.
So do you mind telling us now what became the replacement? What took the place of weed in your life? What took the place of the fun and the partying in your life?
Okay. Once I realized like I am totally void inside. I don't know, I was just seeking something that would fill me up. I didn't exactly know that it's something spiritual which I needed, so I was trying out a whole different variety of things. First I tried yoga, then I tried kahuna, then I just a bunch of things, and then I found a Bible. I found a Bible, and like my story is not one where I went to church and then I got saved from church. God did it like when I was at home alone.
Wow.
And I just started to read the word, and I started reading the book of John, and it was just opening up my mind. Anything was welcome, anything. And when I was reading it, I was feeling like there's something inside me that's just like getting me excited and joyful and happy.
Wow.
Like the kind of happiness I wouldn't experience. Yes, when I smoke up I would laugh and I would think I'm happy, but this was like real joy. It was different.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was joy that was different from all the other.
Yes.
And would you actually let us know now, after you made the decision that no more drugs, was it difficult for you? How
Difficult
was it like?
is an understatement.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, I don't think there's a word for it. It was just something else, honestly.
Terrible, tough.
It was terrible. I didn't even want to go, I didn't want the sun to come out or to wake up, because then I'm thinking, how am I going to get through today? Am I going to smoke the world?
Yeah.
It's not going to fill me up. So it was really hard, especially the week after I had gone and thrown away all the pills, all the drugs, I didn't cut off the friends at first, but I had decided I'm going to leave all these things alone, and then I went and decided tomorrow is the day. Then tomorrow reached, and it was just like, whoo, I don't know how people do this. Honestly, I used to see people who are sober, and I wonder, how do you actually do this? How do you get through a day without
getting high?
Yeah, it was really difficult.
It was
honestly.
really difficult.
Yes.
So we can say probably because your body was used to this.
Yes.
But slowly by slowly you overcame that. Or how did it happen?
How it happened is just, I wish I could, no, I don't wish, but I can't actually attribute it to anything else. Honestly, it was just God for me.
Wow.
I just literally,
What
this
a
is how I
story.
saw God. Honestly, I am down and I feel like I am sick and I'm getting headaches and I'm wishing, why can't I just go back to smoking? And then I even consider going and picking up the bunch of drugs wherever I had thrown them and just relapsing. But then I cry out to God and I tell him, Jesus, I wasn't even going to church, so I don't know how to pray, but I'm just saying, if you gave me that joy when I was reading your word, then give me this joy now when I'm struggling and feeling like going back. And he's always come through, always, forever. That's how I know God is real.
Wow.
And no one can tell me otherwise.
So your story was not told by anyone else. You experienced God at a personal level.
Yes. And after that is when now I decided to go to church. I didn't have to go to God first.
So you didn't start from church?
I didn't start from church.
No.
No. It's like, when we're sick and some people, you don't believe and you're low and you're thinking, I need something. When you're sick is when you go to hospital. You don't go to hospital when you're feeling okay. So some people usually want to let me clean my act up, let me get right first, and then I'm going to go to God. Go to him the way you are.
Wow.
That's the whole
Just
point.
as you are.
Just as you are.
Wow, that is so amazing. In your journey of actually coming out of the addiction, I believe in some point in time you had to lose some friends, some company, some support system. How was this like to you?
Losing friends was one of the hardest parts about having to live that life, because friends is always what is going to hold you back. And some of them you've grown up with, you've known them like forever, they know everything about you, you know everything about them, so having to cut them off is a little bit tricky. And of course you don't want anyone saying that she's a fake, she's this and that, she's this and that, but at the end of the day you have to come and weigh it out. It's either them or me, you know. Like why should anyone hold me back from, you know, me getting to the next level?
Yeah, true.
So yeah,
True. Actually, I believe at some point in time you have to say cutting short the ties is the best decision.
Exactly. And I read somewhere that you know, like how you go like for a movie or something, when you're seated next to somebody, no one else can come and sit there, but once that person gets up and leaves, then you can get another person to come and like occupy that seat. So God always has a way of bringing in people who are going to help you grow. Once I cut off those people, and God knows I love my friends, and I like having friends and people and associates and just having fun with people. He brought in a different kind of, you know, friends who I wouldn't like, you know, hang out with before, but now I'm actually getting to enjoy
their company.
Because now they're showing me new music, they're like, you know, drawing me closer to God, they're helping me out. Yeah, so it was okay.
That is nice. And now, apart from actually losing your friends and your support system, what are some of the other consequences that you actually had to endure during this period of working out?
Sorry, consequences of drugs, or? Yeah,
the consequences of actually being in the addiction and walking out of the addiction.
Okay. Number one consequence for me was just losing the trust. Losing, like, people see you differently. People always think about you as the girl who's always turned, the girl you can call at 4 a.m. in the morning, she's down for whatever plan you have, you know, that kind of person. And that's not the kind of person like I would want people to know me as. I want people to know me as a good person, as a person who's responsible, as a person you can trust your money with. And yeah, so that was just like a major consequence. Of course, you also have physical consequences. I was like half my size. I was really like, my cheekbones were popping, and that not like in a good way. It's because I was too skinny, because you know the drugs, and it has a way of
influence the normal functioning.
Yes.
And right now, as we're actually concluding this interview, there's somebody who is outside there who has been watching this show, and he's like, hey, I want to be like Serafina. I want to walk out of this addiction because you've been an inspiration. So what are some of the words that you can tell to this person who is actually in a cage of addiction, say alcohol addiction, weed addiction, probably even sexual addiction, an addiction that this person day and night wants to come out of, but they just don't know how?
Exactly. I totally relate, and I totally understand. And what I can say is, you are just one step away from changing your life. You are one decision away from changing your life. So it won't happen if you don't make that choice. You have to decide. And Jesus says in the book of Matthew that, come to me, all you who are heavy burdened and heavy, you know, hearted, even heavy hearted, and he will give you rest. So all we're looking for in drugs is just rest and you know, time away from the stresses, and you think you can deal with it like that. But how about you replace that and just give it to God and tell God, you know, like, maybe we haven't even been buddies this whole time, but I heard that you came through for Serafina, well, could you do it for me? And he will. So
so you are telling our viewers that their main way out is through God.
It's through God.
Wow, that is amazing. And earlier you told us that you're a fashion designer. So where can we get you if somebody wants to reach you? Actually, probably they want to make an order. And we are sorry we actually didn't inform you earlier to come with some of your designs that you can do them here.
I can still show you later.
It is true. So you can tell us where we can find you.
You can DM me on my Instagram. That's Serafina, Serafina Locho, and or my WhatsApp. But the DM will be good.
The DM will be good.
Wow, on Twitter at Serafina Locho.
Wow, that is wonderful. Thank you so much, Miss Serafina, for coming to our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
We thank God.
So much fun.
Wow. It has been a wonderful opportunity, our dear viewers, to have the one and only Miss Serafina on our show today. It has been productive. It has been wonderful. Actually, I know once you're out there, you are able to relate that this is somebody who has been in struggle, who has been in pain, but right now they are out there, they are living life how it is supposed to be. As I finish the show, there's a piece I want to read from you from an anonymous poet, and this is what they had to say. I drank for happiness and became unhappy. I drank for joy and became miserable. I drank for sociability and became argumentative. I drank for sophistication and became obnoxious. I drank for friendship and made enemies. I drank for sleep and woke up tired. I drank for strength and I felt weak. I drank for relaxation and I got the shakes. I drank for courage and I became afraid. I drank for confidence and I became doubtful. I drank to make a conversation easier and I slurred my speech. I drank to feel heavenly and I felt like hell. What am I trying to say, my dear viewer? That it is about time you rise up of that cage. You walk out of prison. And as we have heard from our interview, number one step is accepting that you actually need to come out. You have to accept you have this problem and you need to walk out. Number two, very powerful force is the force of willingness. Apart from accepting, you have to be willing to walk out of that situation. You have to have a determination that is to be compared with no other. You have to admit that you actually need help. Go for that help that you need in whatever place that you need. Like our interviewee today has told us that God was her only solution. I'm here to encourage you that your conclusion, your condition is not your conclusion. What you are right now does not define who you're going to be tomorrow. There is a better tomorrow for you. Until next time, we'll be here discussing breaking the chain of the society. It is an episode you definitely don't want to miss. Want to thank you so much for watching this show. Kindly watch this show. On the icons below, there is this thumbs up icon. So like this video, then subscribe to this video and help me share this link far and wide, that we may reach out to those people who are actually dying in addiction and tell them that there is still life after addiction. This is your host, Eric Kamiti. God bless you.
No longer a slave.